Alright YouTube, what is going on? It is ConflctNerd Callum here today, bringing you a brand new episode of our Transport Fever Let's Play. In today's episode, one thing which I never noticed at the end of the last episode is trains are actually still leaving the depot, and I mean that's understandable because the amount of trains that are actually getting deployed onto the lines, I guess. I mean technically we've bought 40 new electrical trains, so it is a large amount of trains, that is for sure. So what we're basically going to do in today's episode is wait for all these trains to come out, which is going to take a while. Now we're going to continue to double up the line, which, I mean I'm not going to do all of that on camera because it's really not that exciting, but we'll definitely do some of it, and I want to work and try and make things a little bit better. Just have less trains, I guess, queuing behind each other and waiting. The problem isn't that bad right now. Now on the outer loop we still have our main line, and I've kept the main line at the end of the last episode anyway, just basically until these two new loops get up and going. Now if you're not at all sure what the two loops are, then go watch last episode first of all. But the new loops, there's this loop here which goes from Ryde over here to Philly, up here to Paisley Bridge, then to Fairford, then to Greenlays, then back into Willesden and back up to Ryde. And then there's just the opposite side of the map basically, so there's Willesden, Royston, Loughton, up to Haverhill, over to Chesham, and then back to Willesden. So, in a sense of taking the big circle, I put Willesden, well Willesden was already in the middle, I guess, and then I've gone ahead and just sort of split the circle in two, easy enough. Now currently we still have the main line, I guess, which goes around all these train stations except Willesden. The reason for that is because if you want to go from here to Royston, all the way along here, into, where is this again? This is Greenlays. Then that's the only connection, because connecting two circles has in a sense got rid of that connection. But I have came up with a solution which is going to go ahead and solve this today. Now this is probably going to cost us quite a bit of money. We're going to lose a lot of money, especially at the start of this episode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the new trains which we bought only about 2 episodes ago, to be honest, which is just insane. So we're going to send all these trains now, which is quite a lot, back to the depot. So that's the main line. I'm just getting rid of the main line basically. The main line's time is pretty much done. What I'm going to do now is, I might as well delete that because I've got no idea what you are. And we're just, I guess we'll wait until all those trains get sold. Those trains should get us a lot of money, which is actually a good thing. I think each train was worth roughly about 100 million, so obviously the trains have been used and we won't get that large a return. We should get an alright return though, but not that large a return, that is for sure. And then hopefully that just allows for our new loops to go ahead and basically make profit, because as you can see here, this is one of our new electrical lines here, the right half anti-clockwise loop, and it's in the profit already, which is great, and that's where we want all of these to go. Right now, as you can see, that one the right half clockwise is losing at a loss of 14 million, which is just ridiculous. But now hopefully, I mean, as trains go back to the depot, there's going to be a lot of problems with queuing. So I'm going to let the game run in a second and we'll go ahead and come back to this, and hopefully things will be profitable maybe in about a year or two down the line. Again, just looking at the left loop is losing not as much, it's only losing about 6 million on each line, but that's going up. I mean, it's fluctuating all over the place right now. So what we need to do is we just need to go ahead and wait for the trains to return off the main line, which, if you don't know, the depot for them is all the way over here beside Ryde. So all the trains on this main loop, which as we know covers the whole map, they need to return here, and it's going to cause a lot of traffic problems, that is for sure. So we're just going to have to go ahead and wait, and that's really what I want to do. I literally just want to go ahead and wait for things to sort themselves out, and what I'm going to do in the meantime while I wait is actually go ahead and double up some more track. So currently I've been working away on doubling up the line, which I'll show you in a minute, but one very interesting thing to note there is we've unlocked a new train. So we'll get to that in a second once I'm finished what I'm currently doing. Alright ladies and gentlemen, so that is me finished what I was working on there. So what I was working on there fundamentally, I've doubled as I called it in the last episode, / quadrupled the track basically. So this means that instead of having all 4 different lines using just 2 tracks, they now use 4 tracks and they don't cross over. They all 4 of them run parallel, which is great, and there's no crossover, no confusion, none of that, which is grand. Now, if we come all the way over to, this is the most interesting part actually, so I've obviously created a siding for these engine sheds, where we can go ahead and deploy trains onto either line, which I like the position of them. However, because I've already got like 4 lines here, it was going to be difficult for me to put another 2 lines alongside that, so I had to, as you can see, we have the right hand loop to the right of us and we have the left hand loop to the left of us, both having a clockwise and anti-clockwise line, and it's just a bit separate. I had to do that, unfortunately. Like, we have 6, I think this is the only part of the map actually where we have 6 train lines simultaneously side by side, and there's a very, very interesting crossover here which we should probably put more lights in for, but yeah, it's interesting to say the least, but it does work, which I was half surprised it did work, and I'm quite happy it does, so all is good. It's not looking too bad. Could probably be a wee bit more efficient, a wee bit better, but that is that built. So that has taken me about 2 years game time to build, which for game time is quite a lot of time, and in that time though our new trains are starting to show really good signs. So as you can see, the right loop, as you can see, there's 5 million for that one, 6 million for that. Now that's not as profitable obviously as our old main line, but you do need to remember that the main line was the full line, so if you add both clockwise loops together, then that's what you get for the overall clockwise loop, if that makes sense. Difficult to explain that, but I mean, all the electric trains are in the profit, and we're near enough at the stage where we were actually originally with the main line. Now, the purpose of cutting it into 2 was to go ahead and accommodate for more people. Is that happening? Not really, to be honest. It's a good principle, and I thought it would work, but it hasn't worked, unfortunately. Now, why is the reason for that? Well, 2 reasons. The capacity isn't large enough, first of all. The capacity is just not there. And second of all, the frequency could be higher, much higher, because there's not another train. The next train's at Paisley Bridge, so there could be more space together. But what I want to work on in this episode is the capacity, because I've just unlocked a new train which I want to go ahead and review. So, and this is a train that I was looking forward to, seen it in a few other people's Let's Plays. So let me just have a look at this very quickly actually. So, you can hold 22 passengers, you're not that much better to be honest. That's not what I'm wanting, the TGV is what I'm wanting, and we have a lot of money to go ahead and buy a lot of these. So, don't know why I closed that there. TV, or is it the TVG? TGV. So, we have 3 different ones here. Now, you can hold 72 passengers, these are going to cost me a lot. But I really, really do think they're worth buying. So, that can hold 164. That can hold, I mean, that's 50 million. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have the money. I'm just trying to think what kind of trains I want to buy and what would be the best for our network. So these can go at a top speed of 300 kilometers per hour, which, to be fair, the line can possibly support in places. However, it's probably going to just get held up by the new electrical trains we bought, these RAB Ds here. So, I don't really know how we're going to work this out. Let me think. So, the profitability of the new loop so far is doing quite well, but the frequency, to be fair, they are doing so well without TVGs. They are doing really, really well. I mean, as you can see here, the left-hand loop, it's at basically, you combine the 2 sums there and you're at over 15 million, that's great. And then you combine the 2 sums of the right half. Right half needs a little bit of work and it is going to get there. So I don't really know where to, I really want to go ahead and buy some TVGs, but I don't really know where to put the TVGs, if you know what I mean. So, I think one thing we do need to do though, before we build any TVGs is, Willesden is now the crossover. So, going back to what I said at the start of this episode, and I was thinking about it, I've probably not explained this very clearly. So if you want to go right now from Greenlays to Royston, you have to get the train into Willesden, and then you have to get the train back out to Greenlays because they're on different halves of the loop. Now, it's a little bit different up here. If you want to go from Ryde to Chesham, you actually can at this end because there's obviously the loop 2 here, which connects up all these towns here. which I think I am going to add in new trains onto that loop, and that's where we can add the TVGs. We'll do that in a second. So I guess up at this end there's a solution really. If you want to continue on, you just get off here at Ryde, then you get the loop train 2 along from here to Chesham, and that really solves your issue. And you don't have to worry about going into Will's Den. You can just jump trains here, which passengers don't mind switching trains in this game, which is a good thing. Like essentially right now, this piece of line here, which I just zoomed in on, is not getting used at all. And same at the other end, and that's why we need a train to go ahead. Not at this end, but we do need a train at this end to go ahead and connect up Greenlays and Royston. So it just means that right now Will's Den isn't that busy, but if we continue the way that we are going, then it is going to get extremely busy, and we just need to go ahead and avoid that. So looking at Royston, Royston is, interestingly, it has got plenty of platforms, which is good to see. So what we're going to do is probably quadruple this part of the line up. And up here, now this is going to be the difficult part here. I would like to make you a 4-lane station, however, I don't know if that's going to be possible first of all. So let's go into upgrades, let's go into number of tracks 4. It can work actually, I'm really surprised at that, it can work. It's going to knock down some houses, I'm going to have to do a wee bit of knocking down here, but that surprisingly works. So let me think about this last part. It should be quite easy to achieve this actually at this end, and then that'll really solve all of our problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and double up this part of the track. So I need to go ahead and remove you guys, unfortunately I do apologise, and then at this end's interesting. What I need to do is I need to merge all you guys into one, so there's no need for any crossovers at all on our track because we have everything working fine as it is. So we can get rid of all you guys. Now what we're going to do here is, I don't know if this is going to work. It might work, it might not work, we'll have to see. I just want to bring you from there into there before the junction. Now we're going to have to create a really big, and this might cause a bit of an issue here because this is going to be in a city and it's going to be a quadruple level crossing, 4 lines going across it, which is just not practical for a city at all. So we might have to build a bridge or a tunnel, and we've actually not surprisingly done that yet. I mean, that train just did hit that bus, so I mean, this is one of the main entrance points coming into Greenlays. I think it's the only road connection, and that's going to be a big issue, so we're probably going to have to look into that, because if not, we're just going to get scores of traffic queuing up, because obviously trains get the right of way. So what my plan is to do is just to simply connect that up like so, and then to connect you up like so into that line there, so you get use of the extra platform. So that's this end done. Then what? Oh no. Why is that being so weird? Right, let's get rid of you. We need to delete this bit. We need to redraw this bit pretty badly actually. I have no idea what's happened here. Nah, I don't want to get rid of all of that though. Can we get rid of that part? Yeah, there we go. Right, so this might make it extremely difficult now. And it is gonna, isn't it? For God's sake, I don't know why it did that. No, that works. So that should work, and that connects in nicely. Does it connect? It's not the prettiest here. I mean, the lines essentially come together, there's poles in the way. But as long as a train can run through that, then I'm totally happy, to be honest. So they would join up here. So basically, we're just going to have a train running here from Royston all the way along the line to, Royston to Greenlays. So one side can use, I guess the left hand side here will be part of the loop, and the right hand side would connect up to Royston. That's pretty much the aim. I've also worked out that we can probably add a second street connection here. So if we add in a second street connection, that's absolutely perfect. It automatically snaps, and that hopefully means again there'll be some more growth at this side of the road as well. It's not the prettiest street connection, mind you. It's like a few steps up to a platform, but I mean, it does the job. I mean, this town has grown so much, and I remember this is one of our worst off towns, I would say. It was just struggling. It's just because it didn't have good transport connections for a long time, and 41% still isn't amazing, to be honest with you. But I remember when it was at like 200 people and it was really struggling, you know. It's now at 8 times that, which is just, it's good to see that progress. It really is. Anyway, so what I need to go ahead and do is I basically... thinking about this, I could... that just defeats the purpose though. I need to go ahead and quadruple up this line, so I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera in a moment or two, and then basically it's going to connect into here and you're fine. So I'll do that bit off camera because I've already done some of that today, and I think like quadrupling, I wouldn't like to see people doubling up a train line. Like, that's just not entertaining. What I want to do though is go ahead and upgrade the trains on our old loop too. So as you can see right now, I mean, Ryde is just like so many trains. There are, how many in total? Why are someone waiting for the main clockwise? Because that line doesn't exist anymore. Well, it does exist, but I've just not deleted them yet. So let's go ahead and delete both of you guys, because those lines really don't exist anymore. So overall, there's people waiting for loop 2 and for the right half of the loop, which is good to see. So there's a lot of people waiting at Ryde though. Chesham, similar situation, not as bad as Ryde. Then if we come up here, these are the independent stations. So as you can see, Wembley, it's got a lot of people waiting. Why is that though? I'm guessing the capacity is just not good enough on our current trains, that's for sure. So let me go ahead, yeah, 120 out of 120, and I can imagine it's the same situation on this whole loop. So that means that, for example, all these 300 people, they can't really go ahead and get moving, you know, they're really limited on space. So the TGVs can hopefully go ahead and solve this issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and buy some new trains, and I need to work out the smallest platform length on this loop. So you're 240, I think 240, so we need to build to 240, which shouldn't be an issue. So we're going to send out a trial train, because I've got the money I can pretty much go ahead and send out a trial train. So you could hold 164 and you've got a much higher speed. Most importantly, I think actually, which we've not really, I mentioned it in the last episode, the loading speed. The loading speed is at 8, which I think the current train is like 2, so it's in the station for a very long time. If we can go ahead and speed that process up, then it just means that we can get, you know, more trains not having to stop. That's pretty much it. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and buy that TGV there. And then what we're going to do is, let me think about this. So you're going to get set onto the white line, so loop 2 clockwise. So I want to see how this does. I want to see if it fits into the station basically. Whoa, this guy looks, yeah, I mean this is the future. This is what, and in my next Let's Play we're going to start roughly around this time with the TGV, and it's mainly going to be a more modern, I mean this has gone through the stages of the old buses. My next Let's Play is going to be modern, which is going to start pretty soon, and that's already just picking up quite a bit of speed. The line here is relatively flat, so it should be able to pick up quite a lot of speed as it is anyway. Currently the trains on this loop can reach 120 kilometers per hour, which isn't bad, but I mean you should be able to do so much more. You're never going to get to your top speed of 300, that's totally understandable, but you should be able to pick up and hopefully maybe push near to close 200 would be my guess. Maybe not in that specific straight, but I mean you're at 170 pretty much there, which is pretty good. Anyway, do you fit? Yeah, so you fit, but I can't do any longer ones, so I can go ahead and use you guys. You should pretty much fill up, and yeah, there we go. That's the reason why we need these trains on this line. That is really the reason. Can you imagine that train filling up from blank with a 2 times speed? That's an 8 times speed, and that actually took quite a bit of time there. So you can see why it's important, the loading speed. You're going to come in and it's basically just time to retire, you guys. That's the bottom line. It's time to go ahead and deploy our new fleet of TGVs. I really do like the orange as well, actually. And I mean, I know I've not really messed around with colours too much recently, but the orange looks really smart on them. So we're going to buy 1, 2, 3 more of these, and then we're going to set them onto the clockwise loop. Now there's going to be a little bit of a traffic carnage chaos for a bit on this line, which is going to be unfortunate. And again, we're just going to go ahead and buy 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go ahead and sell that. I think that was just a test. So we go ahead and set you guys onto the anti-clockwise loop. And then what I need to do is I need to go ahead and pretty much just return the old trains. So right now, this loop's going to be all over the place, but I need to go ahead and return you older trains. So I want to go to depot, and go to depot. And then the same with the clockwise loop as well. This is going to be interesting, that is for sure. We might need to add in some more lights as well going forward on this loop. So let's go ahead and return you to depot, return you to depot, and return you to depot. So the profitability of that line as well is going to be a bit all over the place for a bit. But these new trains deploying now hopefully should go ahead and help things out. And oh, they just look so... Okay, so that train's managed to reach 180, which is cool. It's just nice to see big trains like this, you know, going ahead and making a difference. It seems to be a bus issue. Yeah, I know, and to be honest, I don't know if I am. I don't know when the series is going to wrap up. This might be the last episode. I'll probably do one more episode on top of this, actually. But we'll just have to see, really. It just depends how everything gets planned out and how everything gets executed. It looks like Ryde is trying to grow up this end now as well, and they've actually built in between railway tracks. Like, why would you like to live in between railway tracks? That's just... I think that's a bit stupid. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So, let's go ahead and look at the right half loop. The right half loop is in the profit, however, it's at that stage where I don't think it's going to be able to get any better without additional trains on it, so that's definitely an option. However, the frequency's pretty good. I mean, the frequency's every 100 seconds on that side. And then coming up here, the profitability, again, between you two is about 16-17 million, so, I mean, we're still making so much money. So I think the long-term goal would be to probably go ahead and upgrade these electrical trains probably to TGVs. I think that's what the long-term aim will be. That'll take a while though, and we need a lot of money for that because these loops are much bigger. It's not just buying 4 trains for each of the loop 2, the smaller loop. I mean, even though these loops are half of the original main loop, they're still so much bigger than this loop right now. So anyway, I just want to see how the traffic's doing, because the traffic is going to be awful round about here, I can imagine right now. So you're waiting for a free path, and this is where we're going to have issues. So you're in the train station, but you can't leave the train station technically. Then there's probably going to be, yeah, it's going to be pretty ugly for a bit. Are we at gridlock? I think, oh, I know why we're at gridlock. Yeah, we are at gridlock. Are we at gridlock? Oh no, I know the issue, because you can come out but you can't reverse back into these train depots. That's the problem. So I know how to solve this issue. All the trains are going to have to go around again, unfortunately. No, that is the problem. So there's a crossing place there, so that means that you should be able to run across this line and jump into this depot here, I think. But obviously it can't until the trains go through this station here. Why are you not going forward? You should be able to go forward because there's no one in this station. Well, you've just gone through there, so you're making a move, so hopefully we'll start to see a bit more movement. That's us into 1984 and a new plane, which actually looks really nice. But yeah, so you're going into that line there, and then you'll come into this depot here. And that's absolutely grand. So it's going to take a wee while, but hopefully the trains will get there eventually. So you're on 164 out of 164. We're just very quickly going to jump on with you. Now, because we're at this stage, there's so much stuff in the game, the frame rate is starting to shit itself a little bit. But it's kind of expected, to be honest. I mean, the game's not like a AAA game, so the engine is going to have limits. I really don't think it is my computer, but look at us go. We're up to 160 kilometers. We should be able to hit 170 before we decelerate coming into the station here. And there's another train in here as well. So you're on 164. I mean, both of you guys are full, which is quite remarkable. I mean, the amount of money you guys are going to be making, once the old trains get off the line, we can go ahead and probably put even more TGVs on here as well. It's just going to be so good. How are you? You're full as well, so things are looking pretty good for the future. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for those old trains on the Loop 2, which we have just been working on, to return to the train depot. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and double up this section of the track over here from Royston to Greenleys very quickly. Right, so I've pretty much gone ahead and finished what I was working on, doubling up this line, adding in signals. Now, one or two errors, or not errors, but problems we're getting. So many road vehicles when I was building that line need upgraded, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And I also see this here, right? So this is a 6-carriage train, using the old carriages, which is on Loop 2. Now Loop 2 is at, I mean, we're in between Royston and Greenleys here. Loop 2 is all the way over here and it's heading for the depot. It's taking the biggest detour of its life. Like, what the hey is going on? I really don't understand. It's taking the biggest detour ever. I don't know what depot it's going to. I don't know where it's going. I don't know how it's going to get there. My guess is that if you're coming along here, then you're going to be eventually landing up going into one of these two here, but just who knows, who knows. Anyway, so with that done, we can go ahead and, yeah, this is the issue, it's literally every single road vehicle. I think maybe it's just the old road vehicles, I can't remember, I think it's the Mercedes-Benz buses that they're due to just disappear. I'm pretty sure. So we're starting to upgrade some lines. We're pretty much going to have to go ahead and do this for all of the ones which use Mercedes-Benz. And we need to upgrade them here to the MAN SL 192. But again, I'll go ahead and do that off camera. Looking at the buses which we've not actually, the profits are a bit all over the place. Now obviously they're competing with the trains now, so it's understandable if some lines are making profit and some lines aren't making profit. Some are a bit here, there and everywhere, to be honest. I mean, the Ryde Connect's a different issue. But overall the buses are making a profit, just not as much as they were, but I mean the trains are obviously now making much more of a profit. So going ahead and actually looking at the trains, we've got the left loop which is doing exceptionally well. You add the two left loops together and you get a total of about 18 million profit. Now this is very interesting to see. Loop 2 is the most profitable right now by using the TGVs, and combine them together, that's at 20 million, and that's only got 4 stops and it's a shorter loop. Then going ahead and looking at the right half of the loop, adding them two together, you're at about 15 million, so everything on the train side is doing well, but I think it's evident that TVGs are the future. That is where we should definitely go to, and that is where we are going to go to. So we've gone ahead and let me just think about this here. So you're fine, you're fine. I need to go ahead and very quickly look at this junction here specifically, my Illuminati triangle. So you should be using that hand side now, which is good. So we can go ahead and, for my sake, because we don't need you guys, I just don't want any crossovers, so I'm just going to eliminate all the crossovers. So get rid of you, and get rid of you. So that means you lines can't cross over at all anymore. And then this line here should go onto that side there, which is perfect. To the left there, so that means that the right hand side, this is starting to annoy me. Can you guys just, I know you need replaced, shut up. Stop being so selfish and self-absorbing and just, oh, I'm not a big fan of people like that. I'm really not. I don't have time for it in my life. Like, if you want to moan, but keep it to yourself. And I mean, nah, I just don't. I spent too long in my life chasing girls who just moan and moan and moan, and you offer them a shoulder to cry on, and they just keep moaning and moaning, and it's all about them, and I'm just like, looking back, like I wasted. Anyway, that is that's my youth right there. Anyway, I'm still 19, so I mean I'm still young, I guess. But anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and connect up, because now we've got a clear line here from Royston, as you can see here on the right. And this is going to go all the way around this loop here, and it's going to continue all the way around here. Still clear on the right. Just stop. And it comes all the way in here to Royston, which is great. So what we need to go ahead and do is add in a train depot, and then we can start getting trains onto this line, which will be great. So the train depot is going to have, it's probably going to get built here. Actually, that's quite hilly. The problem is this line is surrounded by hills. I guess it goes round the hill, to be honest. So what we're going to do is we're going to have You curl around there like that, and then you... Basically, so the reason I'm doing this now, and I'm going to do this going forward, is just so we don't have trains which come from loop 2 coming all the way around the map because they need to come in at a specific angle. Like, the good thing is, of this, I can have trains coming in from both either the left or the right, so it basically just eliminates that problem, which is good because I don't want trains straying all the way to the other side of the map just to find a train depot. It shouldn't be like that. Anyway, so we're going to combine you. And we're not going to quite combine you guys yet. We'll need to extend this out a little bit more. And then we'll bring you in now successfully, and then we can build a train depot. So trains, depot, rotate that around a little bit, connect you onto there. That's down to 20k. Or maybe it didn't cost 20, I just remember specifically I was like, oh, 28k in the last episode, because I was quite surprised at how cheap it was. Then we're just going to have a connection like that. Just so that line, yeah, that's correct. And then I also need to have a connection here, and there's signals around here, so they should be able to deal with all of the crossings. So with that done, we can go ahead and create our new line, which is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and jump in here, new line. I'm going to start filtering here actually, because there's so many lines now we've got to deal with, it's a lot. Why are... You just went negative, the clockwise, there must be an issue with the clockwise there, because the anti-clockwise is doing extremely successful, but the clockwise, there's maybe a bit of queuing there going on, which is not good. It's probably that stupid train which came all the way around the side of the map. I mean, in general trains are fine, but we'll need to look into that, because it should be more profitable. Anyway, so let's create this new line. It's going to be one line, it's not going to have a clockwise or an anti-clockwise. So you're going to go from Royston to up here to Greenlays, and then you're just going to return on the other line. So that's totally fine. You can't use both platforms the way I've set this up, but that's not that much of a problem, to be honest. So that is it. Tiny train. It's not going to have tiny trains on it, that's for sure. So you're going to be the train from Royston to Greenlays. I try to type as quiet as possible because I've got my keyboard right under the microphone. My mouse is off, which I know is quite loud. I'm still using my mouse. My main mouse is currently broken, so I'm having to use like a £5 one, which is just, again, a bit attention seeking, a bit loud. And basically, I mean, that's why I try to type quietly, just so it doesn't, you know, create too much noise. Anyway, so this line's going to get 2 TGVs. We're going to change the colour, because I actually want to see what colour would look good on a train like this. I've seen Dylan put them in grey, which didn't look bad. I'm thinking red, like the Virgin trains. I think that would look quite good. So we're going to go ahead and add in 1, 2. And then we're going to set you onto the Royston Greenlays line. We could go ahead and up the frequency, but I think 2 should be good, to be honest. So let's see how... Okay, you've not painted the correct colour. Let's very quickly go ahead and change this. Pretty sure I said... there's not enough white on that, though. Red doesn't look too bad, to be fair. So we'll have one red one and one orange one, I guess, but that's you guys deploying, so we'll have to wait a while to just see how that line does. But that's pretty much solved. I mean, we've done a lot of train work this episode. We've gone ahead and just moved things around. We've added in that line, we've worked on a few different lines, we've doubled up some track. Haverhill, you're having an issue. Pretty big one at that. The capacity's not here, that's the problem, and literally, all these electric trains we bought, they're going to have to get replaced. That's the bottom line. Anyway, I want to look what's going on here in loop 2, because there's obviously a bit of an issue. So, trains, the TVGs are actually doing pretty good, which is great to see. These are doing fine. You are on the correct track. No, you're not. That's very interesting. What is going on here? So that orange line is coming over here, which these lines should not cross at all. And that's half the issue here. That's really, really bad. It's like absolutely hideous. So the way to solve this is you literally just get rid of that connection there. So hopefully now the orange line just continues along there. No idea why it was doing that at all. But that's that issue solved. So that could have been causing some delays, understandably. Coming back up here, you guys branch off. There's technically no need for this bit here anymore, but we'll leave it for the time being. And I'm thinking about rerouting this road actually to the other side of this railway line into the middle here, because it will mean that you can just see that there's just quite a bit of traffic build up here, which isn't good. Or we can always double up this road, which would help as well, but we'll leave it for now. We'll monitor that and see how it does. No issues here, a lot of people waiting on trains, but to be honest, it's not really loop 2. Then coming up here to Sale, I think we could definitely up the frequency on this line, that's for sure, because there's a big enough gaps in between the trains. It's good to see Sale not as busy as it once was. That is one really, really good thing. The frame rate again shitting itself, which is starting to worry me a bit. So that's, I mean, only 83 people waiting there. It's because there's the capacity. And again, going up here as well to Wembley, there's the capacity, and that's why, I guess, things just aren't as busy as they once were. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this episode up here. I think it's been a really good episode. We've achieved a lot. I'm really happy with the TVGs. In the next episodes, I mean, we're probably going to do 1 or 2 more episodes. I'm not really at all sure yet. We'll just have to wait and see. It just, where I really feel that I'm done, and I know I'm not done yet, because I know in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get rid of these small red trains, which aren't bad, but they just can't support what we need going forward. We need to be able to move much more people, so we're going to go ahead and buy so many more TGVs, like so many more. I think I've been getting confused with TGVs and TVGs, so I do apologise. I'm still not actually 100% sure what they are, so I need to learn that, but you guys, you've gained me enough money, and it's not bad, but it could be better. That's my logic there, so that's why I think we're going to go ahead and roll out faster, better trains in the next episodes. Looking at lines profitabilities, I mean, that's 11 million, that's 11 million, so overall the left loop is at about 22 million. Loop 2 is down on what it was, it's down to 7 million, which, you know, you were doing so well. You were doing so well there for a second. I don't really know what's going on. The frequency is actually gone up, which again invites me to go ahead and add in new trains. And then looking at the right hand loop, it looks like 10 million and 16 million, it totals 16 million, so again doing very, very well. I'm also in the background between this and the next episode going to go ahead and upgrade all the buses. However, I don't think we're actually going to look at buses again in this series. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode of Transport Fever. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please leave a like rating. One very, very, very quick thing we're going to do before we end is just check how our new TGVs are doing. 7 people. Yeah, it's going to take a while, so we'll come back to that in the next episode. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching. My name is ConflctNerd Callum, and I'm out.